I'll be honest, my gut feeling is that Indiana is heavily overrated. They haven't faced a good defense. Their offense is not that physical. Would be the best on both sides they have seen. And I think this will be a good transition over into kind of just quickly Indiana. Um, where Indiana is good, like I said, is the explosiveness. And Matthew, you echoed exactly my thought, right? Their toughest game is against Maryland. Okay. Um, they Maryland dropped what 24 points on them. Okay. They went blow for blow because we were following along that Northwestern Indiana game. Northwestern went blow for blow with them and just kind of ran out of gas there at the end. But Northwestern was bad. Whenever Indiana would score, Northwestern would come down and score, right? And Nebraska is way better and far more physical than Northwestern. Okay. Indiana is going to really struggle with the physicality. Kurt Signetti is a fantastic coach, right? Top 20 coach, top 25 coach in college football, if not higher than that. That's being conservative. Um, but that team has a lot of James Madison transfers. And that to me is not going to lend towards a very physical team, nor have they looked very physical. They're explosive. They want to beat you over the top. They can slow down, but they really aren't. They haven't been tested physically. And what happens when an explosive offense gets worn on by a really good defense? And not only that, Indiana, for what it's worth, they're ranked. They're a great story and all this stuff. But again, they're the hardest team they've played has been Maryland. I think if they play Illinois, I think if they play Rutgers, I think it's a tough game for them. I think Illinois beats them. I think Rutgers. I don't know. That game would be close, but I think Rutgers can rough them up. But I think the physicality will be a big problem for them. Curtis Rourke is very efficient. So with Rourke, we're going to have to try to find a way to really not only get pressure, but just kind of really understand what kind of throws he likes to make and try to muddy that up as much as possible because he's going to be efficient. He's going to find holes in the defense if they are there. But I think the biggest thing, as long as our defense is in position, this defense is good enough to stop or at least slow Indiana's offense. Again, hard to tell just because they haven't played anybody physical. But with Northwestern doing what they did to them after what Maryland did to them, they are a benefit of a fairly favorable schedule so far. So I like our odds against Indiana better than the Rutgers game, honestly. So I was more worried about Rutgers in Illinois than I was Indiana and coming in the season, of course. But even now, Rutgers is to me a more difficult matchup because styles make fights, right? And so just because we may not match up well with another physical team doesn't mean when we go in there or if we are in a dogfight with another physical team doesn't mean we're not going to go in there against a team who is not physical and not be able to just kind of manhandle them and assert our physicality and kind of like almost like the Colorado game, right? So I think Indiana's QB is OXFR. What? We're both Albin Solich knew what they were doing, so he's been coached well. Yeah, he is. He has been coached really well. He's a highly efficient quarterback. He's a good quarterback. Got to be ready for all kinds of new plays and trickery from Indiana to offset our physical play. Yeah. Yeah, I think they're really going to try to spread this defense out as much as possible and try to just they're going to try to just make sure they keep this defense honest and on their heels. So that way they're going to try to, find little soft spots where they can against Nebraska. I just don't know if they quite have the ability to do that while also Nebraska's wearing on them as the game goes along. Maybe early, but as the game goes along, we'll see. I hope we don't lose on the bye week. No, yeah, it's happened before probably. I have to sign off. Look forward to listening to the recording tomorrow. I appreciate you, Dean. Thanks for hopping in, man. Really appreciate it. I'm sure two of our DBs will trip and fall on a couple of deep balls. Yeah, that seems to be. Listen, that turf monster, it'll get you. That green linebacker down there, it'll take you out sometimes. But Luckily, the football gods were on our side this past week and do try to catch it off the side of his head. So